The life of Jesus, one of the most famous figures in history, actually has a mysterious gap that has been hidden for 2 millennia. In the Bible as well as Western or Middle Eastern documents, there is no record of where Jesus was or what he did in Palestine from the ages of 12 to 29. These years became a mysterious period, known as the Lost Years, until an explorer made a notable discovery in 1887. Join me in unveiling that mystery in today's video. In the late 19th century, Russian journalist Nikolai Notovik traveled throughout India, Tibet, and Afghanistan. The Unknown Life of Jesus Christ. The story begins in 1887, when Notovik traveled to India and Central Asia. Although called travel, Notovik actually had a more noble mission, which was to go to the southern part of Russia to document the customs and unique cultural features of this region, especially surveying the terrain and geographical locations to draw maps, serving the goal of expanding the influence of the Russian Empire. Because in the late 19th century, the Russian and British empires were fiercely competing for influence in Central Asia. That was also a time when explorers like Notovik were respected by society. Any girl who married an explorer considered it a great honor. On his journey, Notovik traveled from north to south through the mountains of Afghanistan, then to Pakistan, India. Finally, he stopped in the Ladakh region with the majestic snow-capped peaks of the Himalayas. After that, he looped up to Xinjiang to return to Russia. While in Ladakh, Notovik visited a local Lama monastery named Hemis, which enshrined Padmasambhava. We can see that it is a monastery of monks following the Tibetan Tantric tradition. Notovik was warmly welcomed by the Lama. The two conversed and drank tea all night. Stories opened Notovik. He was very surprised because the Lama was not only proficient in Buddhism but also well-versed in knowledge from many other scientific fields. Then the Lama said, Western Christianity is very similar to Tibetan Buddhism, and he analyzed a series of evidence to prove it, astonishing Notovik. He wondered, how could a Lama living in the mountains know so much about religion? Just as Notovik was still stunned and unable to say anything, the Lama said something even more astonishing. Jesus is a great Buddha. He was born into the world to save sentient beings, bringing people the right faith. This information made Notovik unable to stay calm. A series of questions arose in his mind. Does Jesus have a connection with the Buddha of the East? Why does this not appear in any documents? Then Notovik began to suspect that this Lama was deliberately deceiving him. But the Lama continued, Jesus is a great prophet. We call him a prophet, one of the first prophets after the 22 Buddhas. He is truly wonderful. He was in the East during his youth, but he died among a group of people who did not have the true faith. We were very sad to learn this information. Notovik, who was sipping tea, had to spit it out. What did he say? Did I mishear? Jesus actually went to the East. The reason Notovik lost his composure like that was because he is a devout Christian. He had memorized the Bible since he was very young. He knew what the Bible says about Jesus' life and that there is a huge gap. That is the period when Jesus was from 12 to 29 years old. These 18 years are not mentioned in the Bible, with no clues and no one knows where he was or what he did. As if he disappeared from Israel. Notovik stammered and asked, Do you have any evidence? The account of the prophet Isa. Notovik stood up abruptly, knelt before the Lama, and begged him to read it to him. If this is true, it would be historic information. The Lama replied, I do not have the original here. I am sorry, but the original text is written in Pali and it is currently preserved in Lhasa, Tibet. 1. As an explorer and an enthusiastic reporter, Notovik could not miss this hot news. 2. He wished he had wings to fly straight to Lhasa and eat it. 3. That night, Notovik paused and turned in bed, unable to sleep. 4. The story of the Dalai Lama kept echoing in his mind. 5. He clearly remembered how the New Testament described the life of Jesus. 6. Every year, Jesus' parents took him to Jerusalem to celebrate the Passover. 7. It was a traditional Jewish festival to commemorate Jehovah. 8. Who punished the Egyptians to protect the Israelites? 9. From the Passover, it was the time when God protected the Israelites from disaster. 10. By killing every firstborn in Egypt. 11. And today, God teaches the Israelites to kill a lamb. 12. That is, a sheep under 1 year old, and smear its blood on the door as a sign for the angels. 13. So they would not mistakenly kill the children of Israel. 14. That year, Jesus' parents took the whole family to Jerusalem to celebrate the Passover. 15. At that time, the boy Jesus was only 12 years old, and the whole family went to the temple according to the festival custom. 16. After the festival, the couple returned home. 17. But the boy Jesus stayed behind in Jerusalem without his parents knowing. 18. The couple thought he had returned with a pilgrimage route. 19. Not seeing their son anywhere, they turned back to Jerusalem to search for him. 20. After 3 days, they finally found him in the temple. 21. Sitting among the teachers, both listening to them and asking questions. 22. Everyone who heard was amazed at his intelligence and his answers. 23. When they saw their son, the couple was astonished, and his mother said to him, Son, why have you treated us like this? You see, your father and I have been anxiously searching for you. Why were you searching for me? Do you know I had to be in my father? 28. But they did not understand. 29. However, they still took the boy back home after. 30. From then on, there were no more records about the boy Jesus. 31. That's all we know about the life of Jesus. 32. Until he reappeared. 33. At that time, he was already a 30-year-old man. 34. Diligently preaching and saving people. 35. Therefore, people's understanding of the hidden historical part. 36. In Jesus' life has always been a controversy. 37. Many people say there is nothing difficult to guess. Childhood was like everyone else. 39. Helping with family work, which is obvious. 40. Now, when Notovik heard that. 41. Lhasa had records of Jesus' life. 42. That included the lost. 43. He did not wait another month. 44. He decided to set off for Lhasa early the next morning. 45. As soon as the sun rose, the enthusiastic young man. 46. Set off towards the northeast, heading straight. 47. But unfortunately, after only a few miles. 48. Notovik unfortunately twisted his ankle, fell on a rocky. 49. And broke his leg. 50. Thus, the goal of reaching Lhasa had to be postponed. He asked someone to take him back to Hennies, to receive help from the monks. When returning to the temple, the lamas were very happy to see he only had minor injuries, because they clearly understood that the terrain here was very difficult to overcome. They still received Notovik very kindly and helped heal his wounds. While resting, the Lama recounted the story about him from the day before they met again. The Lama spoke about the biography of the prophet Isha. He slowly said that, although there is no original biography of the prophet Isha in Pali, there is a Tibetan translation, which they occasionally take out to read. Notovik didn't know whether to laugh or cry while hearing that. He wondered why the Lama didn't mention this from the beginning. If he had known earlier, he wouldn't have hurried to Lhasa and injured his leg. The Lama only replied that it was fate. Notovik hastily asked the Lama to read him everything about the prophet Isha. The Lama smiled lightly and said that the biography left by the Lord is naturally a gift for humanity. He was very willing to do so. Then they talked throughout the entire night. One person spoke and one tired person recorded without missing a single word. The next day, Notovik left the monastery after his wounds had healed. Notovic collected complete information about the life and experiences of Lord Jesus during his 18 years of practice in the East. The story begins with a 13-year-old boy named Isha. This was the marriageable age according to Israeli tradition. For an intelligent and talented youth like Isha, it was no surprise that many families in the area visited his home to propose marriage, hoping to have him as their son-in-law. But one day, he suddenly left home. Isha joined a caravan of merchants led by an Indian couple. At that time, around the 1st century AD, equivalent to China's Han Dynasty. By then, the overland Silk Road had been established. It connected from the Mediterranean coast to inland China today. Therefore, travel and trade between these two regions became easy and common. Isha arrived in India when he was 14 years old. He settled there for a while, visiting local meditation masters and eminent monks to study. Isha was extremely intelligent and deeply knowledgeable, quickly becoming famous in the places he visited. Therefore, many people from everywhere wanted to meet him. Some wanted to adopt him as their son. Some wanted to marry their daughters to him. But Isha politely declined these invitations. Later, he went to the Janagat of Puri temple. This was one of the most famous and mysterious temples in ancient history, worshipping Lord Krishna, also known as the sky god. He is an incarnation of the Hindu god Vishnu. People here believe that inside this statue of Krishna contains his actual heart. The priests at Janagat temple welcomed Isha. They taught Isha to read and understand the Vedas, taught him yoga, and how to heal illnesses through prayer. They explained the scriptures to Isha and taught him how to learn profound implications from people in life. The goal of all these training sciences is only to hope that Isha becomes enlightened like Shakyamuni Buddha, and attains abilities like a deity. I need to mention one more thing here, which is that Hinduism and Buddhism at that time coexisted and developed in parallel, even blending together, creating the unique culture of the Indian people that persists to this day. Some Hindu sects believe that Shakyamuni Buddha is an incarnation of the great god Vishnu. Tibetan Buddhism later became the clearest evidence of this fusion, including yoga practices we have explored in previous videos. After learning knowledge from various religions and cultures, Isa began living in Jagannath, Varanasi, and other sacred cities for 6 years. The local people cherished Isa because he not only treated the lower castes of Vaishyas and Shudras fairly, but also devotedly preached to them. It should be added that the ancient Indian caste system was divided into 4 different levels, ranked from high to low. The first caste is called Brahmins, the highest status priests. The second level is Kshatriyas, consisting of nobles, royalty, or warriors. The third caste is Vaishyas, comprising commoners and farmers. The fourth caste is Shudras, including slaves and manual laborers. Beyond these 4 castes, there is a type called untouchables, who are not allowed to contact the higher castes. According to Hindu teachings, Brahmins were created by Brahma from the mouth. They represent the god's speech, so Brahmins are the most noble. Kshatriyas were created from Brahma's arms, while Vaishyas and Shudras were created by Brahma from the thighs and feet, respectively. The Vaishya caste was only allowed to hear priests chant the Vedas during festivals, while Shudras were neither allowed to see nor hear the Vedas. Brahmins and Kshatriyas were very displeased to see Isa frequently interacting with the 2 lower social classes. They told Isa that the Vaishya and Shudra castes were so lowly. How could they hear the same things as the noble Brahmins and Kshatriyas? The great Brahma has placed us far from Vaishyas and Shudras, as Brahma does not allow them to hear the scriptures, unless after death, they have the merit to be reborn as Brahmins and Kshatriyas. You cannot break our rules. However, Isa paid no mind to these words, because in Isa's eyes, the Creator has no discrimination whatsoever toward his children. Regardless of high or low status, rich or poor, to the Creator, they are all the same. Isa continued to preach to the lowly class people, embarrassing the Brahmins. They discussed privately that they needed to deal with this young man. At the least, he must be expelled. Some even suggested assassinating Isa. But there were always people who learned the information in advance and informed Isa, allowing him to move on to other places to study and preach. After 6 years of learning, Isa became proficient in Pali and various Vedic scriptures. Then he began preaching and spreading the teachings everywhere in India, teaching them not to worship idols, no need for sacrifices. Just act according to the human principles he taught. Isa wholeheartedly propagated his teachings. Finally, at the age of 30, he returned to his hometown of Israel, officially beginning the stories later recorded in the New Testament of the Bible. Notovic recorded this biography of the prophet Isa 7 years after returning to Europe, in 1894. He published the book, The Unknown Life of Jesus Christ, which included what he had recorded about Isa's biography. Notovic wrote, those 18 missing years of Jesus Christ were actually not empty at all. On the contrary, they were extremely rich and crucial years. He left his hometown of Israel for India. 1. There, he studied with Buddhist and Hindu followers, and then returned to Israel. 2. As soon as the book was published, it was immediately fiercely attacked by Bible experts. 3. They all unanimously claimed that this Notovic had spoken untruths. 4. How could you link the Lord with other religions in India? 5. Because Notovic's book contained an implication as follows. 6. That is, the religion that Jesus taught was the result of his study and travels in India. 7. This almost says that Christianity is a product developed from Buddhism. 8. Thus, it seems he was not the son of a single omnipotent deity. 9. The later monotheistic doctrine of Christianity asserts that 10. Jesus is the Christ. 11. Being the Christ, a deity, he certainly knew that from birth. 12. Not needing to travel everywhere like a human to learn and become enlightened. 13. Most scholars opposing him said that. 14. This book was fabricated by Notovic to make money. 15. Even the leading Bible scholar, Mr. Diamond, had to admit. 16. There is no recognized scholar in the world. 17. Who still doubts that Jesus is the Christ? 18. The story fabricated by Notovic helped him earn a lot of money and fame for personal gain. 19. As for Notovic after 1916, he retreated into seclusion in India. 20. So he never responded to these criticisms. 21. Some scholars boldly stood up to defend Notovic. 22. Among them were many influential figures. 23. The first was Fida Hasnain. 24. He was the curator of the National Museum of Kashmir and also an archaeologist. 25. Additionally, he was proficient in Arabic, ancient Sanskrit, and Persian. 26. Mr. Hasnain said that he had consulted historical documents. 27. About the places Notovic visited, the people Notovic met. 28. When home to the Kashmir and Ladakh regions were all clear names, and all were real people and events. 29. Not characters fabricated by Notovic. 30. The explorer John Husband, also president of the Royal Geographic. 31. Also provided solid evidence. 32. He once led the British Expeditionary Force. 33. He said, although not familiar with the stories in the book. 34. The time Notovic left the Tantric monastery was accurate, he could testify. 35. Because when he left Solari, a place not far from the Tantric monastery. 36. He met Notovic and the two even conversed. 37. And another person was Swami, an Indian master, who also provided important evidence. 38. He was a famous speaker in Vedic studies, had been to Tibet, and was proficient in Buddhist. 39. Initially, Swami also doubted Notovic's story. 40. But by 1922, he became too intrigued by this story. 41. Swami went to the Tantric monastery himself to verify. 42. The lama in the temple told him that Notovic could return to the temple. 43. And was beaten with a stick, taking 40 days to heal from the injury. 44. The lamas also said that in the temple, there was indeed a handwritten manuscript. 45. And what Notovic heard was from this biography. 46. And so, Swami's mind was clear. 47. Next, he asked about the content of the biography. 48. The Lamas did not hesitate to tell him the content. 49. And even shown a handwritten manuscript. 50. Upon seeing it, Swami could not help but admit that Notovik's words were true. The manuscript consisted of a total of 14 chapters, including 223 pairs of verses, identical to the content recounted by Notovik. With the assistance of the Lama, Swami also translated a portion of the manuscript's content. Later, in his published travelogue, he published 40 verses from it and even cited Notovik's book as a reference. Thus, it appears that Jesus once went to India to study for 18 years. Of course, the content of his teachings has nothing to do with Buddhism, but originates directly from the Jewish tradition. In fact, many sages have undergone a similar process. For example, before becoming the Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha once studied under Archaeological, a great master of the ancient Indian Sankhya school, and also studied under Ukara. And Shakyamuni Buddha practiced meditation under the guidance of Udakarama Buddha. This process was the stepping stone to his ultimate achievement, the key to unlocking his fundamental knowledge. And that was still not the final content of the Buddha's teachings. Therefore, it is very likely that Jesus also underwent a similar process. The reason why Jesus did not recount this process to his disciples, we will perhaps explore in future videos. Thank you for watching the entire video.